Okay, let's take a deeper dive into Object.create. We know the first definition, right? Creates a new empty object and makes that empty object's prototype whatever you pass in here. And the second property is the property descriptors, which if you forgot, please go back to the object review video part 3. Okay, now let's take a look. How do you think JavaScript creates objects? When we create objects, const obj equals empty object. What does JavaScript do? Well, this is what JavaScript does. It does const obj equals, it's going to do object.create, and guess what it passes in? It passes in the object base. Let me fix this. Object.prototype. So when you declare an empty object, this is what happens under the hood. It creates using object.create, because remember, object is a constructor. So it calls the create method, right? It's going to pass in the object prototype. And remember, whatever it passes in will make that the prototype of the new object. Okay, so if we type in obj, we see that its prototype is the object base. Can we check that? obj.__proto. Is that equal to object.prototype? Yep. Now, a lot of people get confused, and there's a few videos online that say if you do const obj equals to an empty object, that it would be the same as this, as just passing in an empty object. But that's not really true. Let's take a look. If we type in that object and we look, it has a prototype, okay? But that prototype is empty. That prototype's prototype leads back to the object base, okay? So it has one empty prototype. Because if you do this, if you just pass in an empty object, look at its definition. It creates an empty object, and then it makes your empty object that you passed in the prototype. So you're going to have an empty object with an empty object as its prototype. And you don't want that. You want to pass in the object.prototype. Okay?